we as white people go and try to have children with black people specifically so that we can get the physical characteristics of black people into our children.
Excited to have you, amazing viewer at Comfort for Life. Thanks for your continued support to my content. If you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. It's absolutely free of charge, no money for that, so that's the only way you can support me. And also, let's engage with the content. I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok. This creator has been running on my For You page for a while now and decided to check him out. He's been sharing a series of things he learned by listening to black women. Let me say black people at this point, because some of these apply to not only black women, but mostly black women that he's been listening to. So this is what he wanted to say. First, disclaimer. Listen to that.
Disclaimer. Black people are not a monolith, and every person has their own opinion. I am summarizing and simplifying in the hopes of educating. Good morning, white people. This is a new series I'm calling Things I Learned by Listening to Black Women. It seems that most of you aren't, so I'm hoping that by being a straight white man and repeating what they say, maybe you'll listen to that. Number 1. Black people do not owe you anything. They don't owe you an education, they don't owe you a reading list, and they certainly do not owe you their Sunday afternoon to go to your protest march. They don't owe you a thank you for doing what you should already be doing, which is being a compassionate, empathetic human being. And perhaps most of all, they don't owe you a warm, fuzzy feeling for saying you're an ally or that you're one of the good ones. Also, if you're a white person and this offends you, this is for you. Sit down. We are making it very difficult, if not impossible, for black people to care about American politics. 92% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. They organized, they got out to vote, which in some places is very difficult and time-consuming on purpose. And what did they get in return? 52% of white women and 59% of white men voted for a man who is openly racist. So they wish us well, but on the whole, they're feeling completely disenfranchised and above all, very, very tired. Some black people go even further and saying, let it burn, tear this bitch down to the studs. Maybe some of you will get a tiny taste of what we've had to deal with for decades, if not centuries. Maybe then, if it's not too late, you'll do something about it. Either way, good luck. Black women would really appreciate it if we would stop trying to touch their hair. If you ask before attempting to do this, it's just rude and creepy. And if you don't ask, you are touching someone without their consent, which is called assault. While sadly it probably won't, this behavior should get you slapped, if not arrested. This is especially true for black children. Try to imagine a random adult just walking up and trying to touch you. Or try to imagine what you would do if someone tried to walk up and touch your child. So please, let's keep our hands to ourselves. Moving on. Black women would like to remind you that racism towards black people is a white problem. Most of us are taught from a young age that racism is something that happens to black people rather than something that is perpetrated by white people. This distinction is crucial because it shows where the problem actually lies. Think of it this way. Imagine you're out at the Bass Pro Shop or the Whole Foods, and I just walk up to you and, apropos of nothing, punch you in the throat and knock you down. Now imagine that while I continue to pummel you, people just casually walk past and say things like, "Wow, getting beat up is awful," and "That person should really protect themselves," and "I stand with people that are on the ground getting the stuffing beat out of them." You see how ridiculous that sounds? That's exactly what we're doing when we don't frame racism as a white problem. And if we don't frame it correctly, we're going to go looking for solutions in the wrong place. We can only end racism if we educate white people that want to do better and ostracize those that don't. But J-Bill, there are racist black people. Yes, and also hats exist, and neither of those things makes what I just said any less true. Maybe stop worrying about the behavior of hypothetical people and just focus on you. Justin, Kevin, where do you think you're going? Sit back down. Black women would like to remind you that "you're pretty for a black girl" is not only not a compliment, it's super offensive. For starters, how is anyone supposed to respond to that? "Oh, I'm pretty for a black girl? Well, you smell nice for a complete piece of shit." Conditional compliments are always bad, but in this case, it's far worse than just rude. When you say "you're pretty for a black girl," you're acknowledging your racist, societally reinforced belief that white European women are the gold standard for beauty, and that you're surprised that anyone who doesn't fall into that category could even be beautiful. This is an extremely harmful stereotype that we've been promoting for centuries. It's yet another way that we're trying to tell black women that they're inferior. It's also noticeable that a lot of biracial and light-skinned black women tend to get told this, which is basically saying, the part of you that I perceive as white is beautiful. To be clear, black women do not need white validation of their beauty, and they'd appreciate it if you treat them like human beings and not like objects for you to evaluate with your white male gaze. Before anybody comes for me, I am not talking about interracial relationships between people that love each other. I am talking specifically about how we as white people go and try to have children with black people specifically so that we can get the physical characteristics of black people into our children, which is a thing that we're doing. I swear, every time I think that I have understood the depths of how we exploit black people, we manage to go lower. Here are some direct quotes. I've had white men tell me that they wanted to breed with me because I'm one of the good black girls because I'm light-skinned with hazel eyes and curly hair. In high school, the white girls that dated the black football players or basketball players would talk about their boyfriends in a fetish type way. Example, can't wait to have light-skinned, green-eyed babies. I want mixed babies so bad. I hope our future kids don't have his hair. You know, I have to remove "it goes without saying" from my vocabulary. These are people we're talking about with hearts and minds and thoughts and feelings. And they would appreciate it if you could stop treating them as some kind of genetic enhancement tool. There have been a lot of videos of white women asking, what can I do to help? What can I do to show black people that I'm safe to be around? The overwhelming majority of black women have answered this question by saying, talk amongst yourselves. Have the difficult conversations with your mothers, your aunts, your sisters, your friends, and most importantly, yourself. Dismantle your own internal biases. Don't try to appear safe. Be safe. Be compassionate, be empathetic, and don't think you deserve a reward for doing so. Your intent will come through without you having to say anything if it's sincere. Another big one was defend black women at work, meaning if you notice that someone else is dismissive of what someone is saying because they're black, stop it. Call it out. If a black person has an idea that gets dismissed by a white person who then suddenly puts that idea forth 10 minutes later, call that out. Make it visible. Make it uncomfortable. Many black women talk about being scared of white women even more than they are afraid of white men. They point out how hypocritical it is that the same white women who said they'd choose the bear over the man are calling black women crazy for feeling safer around white men than white women. If you feel the need to point out not all blank, doesn't matter what it is, then you are the person that people have to worry about. And maybe you listen to that. Normally, I cobble these videos together with quotes and summaries from a bunch of different people. Today, I was fortunate enough to have someone reach out to me directly, and I'm going to just read what they sent me more or less as is. Here goes. To all the white people who don't consider themselves racist, you are, unfortunately, a large part of why racism persists. When you say nothing, you are complicit. Excusing racist behavior by saying your grandparents were born in a different time or that's just how they were raised does not absolve you. It makes you just as culpable. I literally saw a video on TikTok of a young white woman who went through photos of her grandmother and found her grandmother dressed as a Klansman. That young white woman laughed like it was the funniest thing since Richard Pryor. White people need to hold each other accountable and enforce consequences. Racist grandmother? Cut her off. Racist sibling? Cut them off. Racist best friend since childhood? Cut them off. The racist grandmother on her deathbed who wants to see you one last time? Don't fulfill that request. That racist father who hates that you married a black man but wants to know your children? Don't expose them to that hate. That friend who's getting married but won't let you bring your black or person of color significant other because they're marrying into a racist family? Don't go to that wedding. Racism needs consequences. That's all for now. Please share this with other white people and tune in next time when we'll discover the nuances of what it means when a black woman says, okay. The answer may surprise you.
In few words, let me wrap up this video. It was more informational, so I don't have much to say about this. There have been a number of white women, mostly running on my For You page on TikTok as well, asking what they could do to make women, black women, feel comfortable. And that's what pushed them to even do that research, to collect everything that they would want to hear, that is hurting, let me say, black people, so that you can start from there and also have a conversation amongst yourself. It's just something that you're doing here that you've heard, or really, I don't know what to say. How do I tell you? Information home. So let me get your views on this. What do you think about this particular video? I find them interesting. I don't know if it's interesting to you as well. But yeah, I appreciate that you watched to this extent. Leave your thoughts kindly, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video to other white people. That's what he said. Let me use his words. Share this video to other white people and let's educate ourselves. And black people watching this, is just something that was uncovered? Let us know in the comment section. Is that something that you would want white people to do better? Yeah. And I'll also bring another video, vice versa. We also want to hear from white people what would they want, what is that they would want black people to do for them to feel comfortable, because I feel like you guys are making each other uncomfortable. Yeah, that's it about this video. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Don't hesitate to subscribe, as I said earlier, and goodbye. Stay tuned for more.